Hi guys, Johnny here from the PE Tutor. I thought I'd jump on again today. I did a similar video yesterday which was geared more towards teaching staff and how they can respond to what's going on with education at the moment and this whole home learning environment we're in. But on the back of that, I've got some feedback or some requests from parents also asking about what they can do to support the home learning situation. And obviously I work full-time in a school and we're every day in touch with parents, getting sort of feedback on how they're finding actually delivering these homeschool programs and what works and what doesn't work. So I've got five ideas up here on the board which we're starting to see to be the key factors which lead to a positive home learning environment. So I'll run through them. The first one up there is routine. Okay, so as teachers, we're setting work as closely aligned to what would have been going on with school or going on in school at that time. So as parents, what can work is to build in similar sort of routine. So it could be the time of day that you're getting up. Are you getting up at the same time as you would have done if they were in school? Is everyone eating at the same time? Are you having lunch? Are you having dinner at the same time? As far as possible, try and keep the body clock or timings of the day as regular as they would have been to when you were in school. Okay, it's quite important for a child because school is quite regimented. The bell goes and they've got an hour here, an hour there, 15-minute break. They're used to this regimental style of time management. So it's so important to keep that routine going. It's not going to be too different for them because they're used to that sort of time management. But it's even more important to keep that going on the home front, because if they slip out of that routine, we're starting to hear back from parents that the child doesn't see the difference between school or home life. They're quite blurred lines. So the aim is to try and make it as clear cut as possible. When is it school time? When is it home life? Okay, and routine is seeming to be a really good way to instill that in the child. The second thing we're going to talk about was Workstation. Now, in school, a child typically has their desk, their seat. If they're in primary school, they've probably got their cubby. They've got their drawer where they keep all of their stuff. So they're used to working in their own little space and environment. Okay, now this might be difficult from home because of space or lots of children there or pets or parents working from home as well. And I appreciate all of the barriers that there might be to achieving this, but wherever possible, try and designate an area of the house. It could just be half of a table, or it could be one box with all of their stuff in, but there needs to be a zone where that child knows that's a working zone. Okay, it's separate from fun, family time, pet time. It's separate from all of that. The only stuff that happens there is their homework, their activities, their learning. Okay, so try as far as you can to create this zone, and it just builds in on that first idea there of routine. If they know that at a certain time they're going to a certain place, it removes the confusion. Okay, that's two things less that they need to sort of be thinking about when they go into these home learning tasks. So first of all, routine, get that timing sorted, and second of all, try and get your child their own space to set themselves up, just like you might have your own space in a home office. You might have a space for your computer and your files. As far as you can, try and get a similar sort of zone for your child to work in as well. Third, we have visual timetable. Now this one is probably already taken care of. Your school has probably sent you your child's timetable, but if you haven't already, either print a copy off. If you haven't got the access to the printer, especially if you're locked in at the moment, then just draw one up, write one up. Have it nice and clear so the child can see where their time is being spent. Because again, we're trying to mimic what school is like. And I guarantee in school, they will have a visual timetable, either in their own planner if they're in secondary, or primary school children, who this is more geared towards, they'll have pictures up on the wall. They'll have big charts telling them where and when and what they're meant to be doing and what's coming up. That's probably the most important part. Do they know what's happening later? Because as soon as a child becomes more unsure about their immediate future, they'll start to play up in the current moment. Okay, so be really clear. If it helps, sit down at the start of the day and talk through the timetable. Set down the expectations of this is what we're hoping to achieve by the end of today. That way, there's not going to be any nasty surprises or reasons for them to kick up a fuss. If you tell them at 8 a.m. that they've got a science experiment to do later on and they're not really a sciencey person, as long as they know that it's coming up in 3 hours' time, there's going to be less of a battle by the time you get there. Okay, so keep that visual timetable available and in sight of that child, and always refer to it, because that's what they do at school. Okay, so you've got routine, timings wise, you've got workstation, give them a zone, you've got visual timetable, let them see what is happening and going to happen for the rest of the day, especially where those breaks are. Be so cemented and regimental with when breaks are. In school, it's a bell or a buzzer, and then a bell and a buzzer to signify the end. It's such a set window for when they have their downtime. So try and mimic that from home. Tell them when it's coming up, set the timer, and then call them back in and get them ready for schoolwork again. Okay. Fourth, prioritise PE. Now, I might be a little bit biased here because PE is my thing, but PE and activity is proven to de-stress a child. So always allow time to build in physical activity. Whether or not it's something that the school has recommended, brilliant. If not, you might have to go out of your way and try and find a 20, 30, 40 minute physical activity for your child to do. Because as soon as they get put into this elevated state of activity, their body is going to be firing off so many hormones inside of their brains and bodies that when they come back down from that, they're going to be in a much more suppressed and ready to learn state. So it's so important to build in that physical activity. And lastly is technology. Now I've put this one down here. It's a catch-22 really, because a lot of this home learning is going to be requiring the use of tech. iPads, phones, internet, devices, laptops, whatever it is. There's going to be a lot of time that's going to be being used. But what needs to be made clear is it being used for the right purpose? Okay, so for example, the TV shouldn't be on unless it's used for the physical activity or it's used for the learning. Try and remove any sort of access to the technology which they wouldn't normally have in school. So I'm going back to that point again. The best way to get a child into learning mindset is to try and mimic and replicate what they would normally do at school. Can they normally watch TV at school? No. So don't let them watch TV in the hours that they're meant to be learning. Can they watch TV during their break at school? No. So try not to let them watch TV during their breaks at home. Okay, don't think of it as them being at home. They're at school within your house or within your apartment. Okay, so don't let them have their phone if they have a phone. Don't let them have their tablet for fun if they have a tablet. Don't let them go onto the laptop and surf games and things like that if they don't normally do that in school. Okay, try to avoid, and we're hearing this from our parents, try not to drip feed technology or games as the carrot. Okay, because as soon as they get into the routine of if I do one lesson, I then get half an hour on my console. As soon as you start to do that, that's when, again, we go back to this idea of blurred lines. Am I at school or am I at home having fun on holiday? Okay, so try and limit the use of technology to learning purposes or what they could normally use in school. Okay, that's probably the biggest advice that we're giving our parents and the general consensus and feedback that we're receiving back. Okay, try and mimic school life at home. There are 5 ways that you can do that: routine, workstation, a visual timetable, technology, and obviously, yeah, that fifth or that fourth one on the list there, prioritise PE. Get that physical activity in. Okay, get them worn out. Get rid of those hormones and stress levels that are going to be building up inside of their minds. And if you can do those 5 things, I would hazard a guess, a pretty good guess, that it's going to be a lot easier from the parent's perspective to try and manage this whole home learning environment at home. So I hope that helped. I'm Johnny, I'm from the PE Tutor. And yeah, obviously any questions or any responses to this, then drop them in the comments below. If you think you know someone else, a parent who might benefit from this, then of course, share this around. This is an open video. So yeah, any issues, get in touch. See you later.